Hey, what is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of Smite the Basics. It's been a little while, but we are here to look at the Hunter starter god, Neith. She's really fucking cool. It's early as fuck in the morning right now. This is the earliest I've been up in a while. It's like 6:30. So yeah, we're just gonna crack on and get on with it. So let's take a look at her. We're going to do our usual sort of stuff. She's got some pretty cool skins. This one's pretty sexy. I like this one. One of the first skins I ever actually bought. She's also got this one's pretty sexy as well. She's a sexy little broad. And this is my personal favourite. She's got this little emote, a dance emote that you can get, and when you do it with this skin, the monkey dances as well, which I actually really like. So that's my sort of like taunt when people are annoying me on the other team. I tend to do that. So she's got some really cool skins. Her voice pack, you guys probably know about her voice pack already, but pretty cute. But without further ado, I can't even speak English. It's too early, boys, but we're gonna crack on anyway. We start with Transcendence. The reason why we're starting with Transcendence is because in her kit, she has a backflip, which gives us mobility, and if we have mobility to start with, the 18% movement speed that we would get from Warrior Tabby isn't as needed. And if we can get stacks online as early as possible, you've got a chance to snowball. Because the way that this build's going to work is, for the first maybe 5 or so minutes, you're going to be somewhat strong, but you're not going to be as strong as you're going to be later on. Later on, you're going to be really strong. This is, it can be played to be an early game build, but typically, most of the games you play, if you build this, it'll be a late game build. The reason why I do it like that is because I'd prefer to be very strong later on than sort of mediocre strong at the beginning and then having to swap out items at the end to become as strong as I could have been. So yeah, we get Transcendence. I think we've discussed this ability before, but we'll quickly go over it. What it is it's 2006. I'll try and break it down into like really simple terms. It's 2,600 gold for, I think, 65 power, which already is a very good deal, because 65 power for 2,600, really good. But it comes with 300 mana. Now, especially on Neith, but on quite a few hunters and assassins alike, it's really easy just to burn through mana, like absolutely burn through it early on. So to have an extra 300 is really useful, and it comes with mana per 5 seconds as well. As you can see, I'm saying it's 65 power, but you can clearly see that it's not. It's 35 power. But you get this passive where for each stack, so we know about stacks, these stacks are for minions, you get 1 stack, and for a god kill you get 5 stacks. And the maximum stacks that you can reach with this Transcendence is 50. So when we kill 50 minions, we will receive those 50 stacks, and when we do, we're going to get 15 mana for each stack. Now that's 15 times 50, which is 750. So you're gaining 750 mana on top of the 300 that you already get. So we've got 1,050 mana just from this ability being maxed out once we've got all the stacks for it. So 1,050 mana. Now this is the really good bit about it, is additionally 3% of your mana is converted into physical power. So what we've got to remember is, not only is it the mana that we gain from this item alone, but it's the mana that we get when we get to level 20 just through leveling, and it's the mana that we have in our kit. Now, I don't think we've got any mana with any of our abilities. No, so it's literally just the Transcendence. So we've got 1050 from that, but we've also got another 1000 there. So we're sitting at roughly 2000 mana when we're at level 20 with full stacks of Transcendence. So 2000 mana, we work out 3% of 2000. It's going to be around about 60 power. So straight away you're looking towards like 90 physical power for this item, which is really, really, really good. So just off the bat, that's a very, very large amount. As you can see, when we build it, we go straight up to 74 power. It should have went up to 35, but it goes straight up to 74 because of this additional mana and the 300 that you get. As you get the stacks, that's going to go up even more. I just wanted to make that one really clear. I know I try to normally burn through these moves as quick as possible, but it's a really, really good one to know exactly what the deal is with it. And as you can see, 74 power from your first item is really, really strong. I mean, you're going to go from hitting for 81 to hitting to 133 straight away, and your abilities are also going to be hitting very hard as well. Actually, that's not exactly right. You'd be probably level 6 by the time you get it, so it would be more like 100, but it's still incredible. Boots, we know about boots by now. 40 physical power, which is great, and some movement speed. Excellent, we're up to 100 power, and we are moving around the map nice and fast at 431. So we'd probably be about level 8, I'd say, by the time we get that. Then we're going to go into Itchable. Now, there is a choice with Itchable. First of all, we'll just say that we're going to be building Itchable because our attack speed is at about 1 or just over, but by the time we've got Itchable, we'll be up to about level 11, so just 1.1. Once we get Itchable, it takes us all the way up to 1.4 straight away. But what you can see is we also gain some penetration, so not only does this go up, but we gain 10 penetration. Awesome, so now we can start hitting some people a little bit more harder. A little bit more harder? A little bit harder. As you can see, the passive means that each successful basic attack increases your physical power by 10 and reduces the target's physical power by 10. So what it means is for each successful arrow that Neith lands, she becomes stronger and the target becomes weaker. Obviously that only counts because it's physical power. That only counts for warriors, assassins and hunters. If you have a mage or a guardian on you, then you're just going to be gaining the power yourself. You're not going to be making them any weaker. It's a really, really nice item. And actually, because this is like the basics, we're just going to build that. We're not going to go into the other alternative. So straight away, we're looking really good. By about level 14, I'd say you should probably have Quintessence. Quintessence? What am I on about? Quins. This comes with 40 physical power, which is a hell of a lot. It also comes with 15% attack speed. That's amazing. And the passive is incredibly important. This whole build is based around 2 things. One of them is fast shots because of this passive, and the other is 2 items that give you an insane amount of power. So first of all, we've got fast shots with this. Now we've got even faster shots because we're up to 145. This takes us up to 1.6 because of the 15% attack speed. The passive, on basic attack hits, you deal physical damage equal to 4% of the target's maximum health. This only affects gods. What that means is for every single hit, if I'm hitting for 199, say, which we wouldn't be because they've got protections, but if say we are hitting for 200, we're also hitting for 4% of their health. Now, if we're hitting that fast, if I land 10 basic attacks on them, they're going to lose a lot of their health because of this. But they're also going to land. They're also going to lose 40% of their health because we've landed 10 basic attacks, and this hits for 4% each time. Now, 40% is almost half of their health, and we are swinging really fast already, and that's only going to get better. So this move's really, really important to pick up 4th item. Then we're going to go into Haste and Fatalis. It's not going to increase our power at all, But what it is it's going to allow us to swing harder because we're hitting faster. The faster we hit, the more of these 4% we can get off. So it gives us 30% attack speed. It also gives us movement speed, which is excellent. And it gives you this really nice, unique passive where when you land a basic attack, the attack movement speed debuff, which is basically something that when you're attacking, you are reduced to a slower speed than if you were not attacking, is removed for 1 second. So what this allows you to do is have an insane amount of mobility while you're landing your basic attacks. So here we go. We'll go from 1.6 speed up to 1.9. That is huge. And as you can see, we've gone up from 430 all the way up to 465 as far as movement speed goes. Now all of a sudden we're hitting at 1.9, and this whole goal of landing a lot of basic attacks to do a lot of damage is really becoming a big thing because we're already up to 1.9 attack speed. And we are just chunking off 4% every time we hit them. 4%, 4%, 4%, 4%. Doesn't matter if they've got 4,000 health and they're a tank, or whether they've got 1,500 health and they're a mage. They are going to be taking 4% of their health every time we hit them, which is fantastic. Now, what you'll notice is that doesn't have any attack speed. Sorry, it doesn't have any attack physical power. Sorry, that has 40 physical power. That doesn't have any physical power. So far, what we're relying on is our Transcendence physical power and our Boots physical power. Obviously, this comes with some as well, but that's not the main use of it. For 2,700, 40 is not amazing. It's the passive that we're buying that for. So you can see that we're a little bit lacking. By the time we have haste, I'd imagine we'd be closer to 16. So we've got 150 physical power, which is good because we're swinging so fast. But now what we're going to do is we're going to buy Bloodforge, which comes with a ridiculous amount of physical power. Yes, it does cost a lot, but it's 100% worth it. Like I said at the beginning, this build is about being okay at the very beginning, good at the sort of early mid game, sort of pretty decent in the middle game, and very good end game. And the reason for that is because once you picked up Quins, you become very good. Once you picked up Haste and Vitalis, you become very, very good. And once you've got Bloodforge, watch our power and our basic attack speed, our basic attack damage, guys. 150 and 204. 225. That's an increase of 75 power. That is ginormous. And we go from 204 basic attack to 280. I mean, that is just outrageous. Now, this would be good. This would just be good if we built a different build, but it's the fact that we've got so much attack speed. So the way that this build works is like I said, you get your power on the beginning, then you attack, then you go into your attack speed, and then you get a little bit of power at the end. Well, you get a lot of power at the end. It's not the cheapest build in the world. And if for some reason you're struggling with getting the Bloodforge on the end, you can always swap it out for a Rage. A Rage is also a decent replacement because you've got so much attack speed that the passive on Rage, we'll quickly read it. If basic attack does not land a critical strike, which obviously we'd have a 20% critical strike chance, as you can see here. If your basic attack does not land a critical strike, your critical strike chance is increased by 10%. So if we land one basic attack, all of a sudden we're up to 30 critical percent. If we land another one and it doesn't crit, we're up to 40. If we land another one, we're up to 50. And eventually, we're going to crit. So what it does is it sort of guarantees a crit. It comes with 30 physical power, which isn't a lot, but it's a little bit. And yeah, it basically puts crit into your build. And it's one way of doing it. Personally, I prefer Bloodforge. I think the difference between 450 between the two isn't too much, so that's the way that I always do it. But it will make a lot more sense when we actually get into it and we go into jungle and just see how hard she hits throughout the stages of the build. So without further ado, we'll quickly save that. Relics, same as always. I tend to go Sanctuary first. And then I will probably build Sprint but for you guys, I'd maybe recommend Sanctuary first and then build Meditation. When I leave base, I always leave base with 2 healing potions and 1 mana potion. The reason why I do this is because when you start, you will build Transcendence Tier 2. Now, if Tier 2 doesn't make any sense to you, I shall quickly show you what that means. It means that you will start your build with this. This is Tier 1, this is Tier 2, Tier 3. The tiers are just as you go up the ladder. So you'll start with that, and what you're aiming to do is you're aiming to stay out to about level 5, possibly level 6. This is why you've got these potions, so that when you go back, you can finish your Transcendence as soon as you go back the first time, and maybe even start your Tier 1 boots, which are 300, as we can see here. So yeah, that's the build. We'll quickly say that, and we'll go on to the abilities quick. So as far as abilities go, we have a really cool passive. It basically means that a broken weave appears at the last location that each enemy god dies. A broken weave gives her ability secondary effects when used on the broken weave. These weaves last for 1 minute. So just a cool little added thing. I mean, it's not the most amazing passive in the world, but it's pretty cool. Spirit Arrow. Spirit Arrow is one of the reasons why Neith is so incredibly strong. Not only does it do an insane amount of damage, but it roots them, and the root is ridiculously long. A 2-second root is such a long time for you to land your basic attacks. And I'll demonstrate it when we go into jungle in a second, but Neith fires a shot that passes through everything. Each hit takes damage and is rooted, so you can pass that through minions, you can pass it through gods, it'll just go. If the Spirit Arrow hits a broken weave, which is one of these, the broken weave detonates, dealing damage 100%, so dealing all of the damage that you normally would with the Spirit Arrow to everything in the area, and roots all the enemies in the area as well. So it's sort of a way of making this Spirit Arrow into sort of an AoE explosion, is by doing it on top of a weave, and we'll show that again inside. Unravel is basically a big circle that you lay down in front of you, and it does it sits on the floor for a second, and then it explodes and detonates half a second later. When it does damage to everything in the circle, and it heals you. So Neith neatly unravels the world weaves, damaging all enemies in the target area, reducing their attack speed, so that's handy, and healing Neith for each enemy hit up to 3. So as long as you have 3 targets in there, you're going to get the max heal off of it. Any broken weaves in the area are removed, healing Neith for an additional amount. So again, broken weaves, we can use them for even more healing. We can either explode them for AoE damage, or we can put this on top of them for even more healing. The damage is pretty good, 190 when at full rank, with 80% physical scaling. The attack speed debuff makes them hit 30% slower for 6 seconds when fully maxed. The healing can be quite good. It can be up to like about 150 per heal, and if you hit 3 targets, that's like 450 healing once at full rank, which is pretty cool. And as you see, the weave heal is substantially more. If you hit a weave, you're going to end up healing for about 250, something like that, plus any enemies that are inside. So you can get, essentially, you could use this to heal somewhere close to 700 once it's fully done and your build's done. So cool move, just allows her to have some sustain, stay out a little bit longer. Really cool, we love that one. Her backflip, I think everybody already knows about this one, but Neith backflips through the air, creating a broken weave where she leaped from, while damaging and slowing enemies in a cone in front of her. The damage is kind of pretty decent. It can be up to like let's say 400, so it can actually be used to finish somebody off if they're very, very low. But it creates that broken weave, and if we can create a broken weave with our backflip, we can heal off of it, or we can use it for an AoE explosion. So we really like that. And it's a great getaway because you can be facing the same direction as you were. You don't need to turn around to dash. You just backflip right behind you. Really, really cool. Amazing. Probably the best ability in our whole kit. It's really, really great. One thing I will mention is if you come up against an Ares, he will chain you and you won't be able to backflip. And Neith without a backflip is a bad thing, a very bad thing. So avoid Ares at all cost. Her ultimate, World Weaver, not a bad ultimate at all, really. Neith fires up a charge and fires an arrow across the world. Now this can go any distance at all, seeking its target through obstacles, so walls, anything, it'll just go through anything. Enemy gods take damage. Enemy god takes damage and are stunned. The stun duration is 1.5 seconds when fully maxed. The arrow can be fired quicker for diminished results. Now what that means is that you can, if you see somebody on low health and they are halfway across the map, they have to be seen. You can't just use this ability and shoot somebody that might be out of sight, right? They've got to be seen by either your minions or by one of your gods, so one of your teammates, or by a ward. So if they are seen and they are on low enough health, you can use this and you can quickly crouch down, fire your arrow, and you will do a little bit of damage. But if you crouch down, and we'll see, and wait for it to charge all the way up, and then fire your arrow, you can actually do a substantial amount of damage. And it's a really cool one for finishing people off that normally would have definitely gotten away. It can be blocked, so what will happen is if somebody sees you crouching down, charging up, they will run in front of their teammate that's on low health and go, nope, I'll protect that, I'll take that for you. They will take the damage and they would have saved their teammate, and yeah, that can be a bit irritating. But either way, what we're going to do is we're going to level our Spirit Arrow because our Spirit Arrow is the best. Then we're going to go into backflip, then into Spirit Arrow again. Then we're going to get Unravel forth, back into Spirit Arrow. Oh, that's not right. World Weaver, sorry. Let's clear that. Let's start again. So Spirit Arrow, backflip, Spirit Arrow, Unravel, World Weave, Spirit Arrow, Spirit Arrow, Unravel, World Weave, Spirit Arrow, Unravel, backflip, World Weave, Unravel, Unravel, backflip, World Weave, backflip, backflip, World Weave. So what that's going to do is it's going to make our Spirit Arrow incredibly strong at the beginning. It's going to make our Unravel pretty good, so we get a good bit of heal off it, and we can also clear lane with it if our Spirit Arrow is on cooldown, or we're saving it for an enemy god. And then eventually, so we got a backflip at level 2, and then we got a backflip at level 12. So we pick up a little bit of backflip along the way. Our backflip is really going to be an escape. We're not looking to do any damage with it. And that's going to be her items done, and that's going to be her abilities done. So I think we should go see exactly what she can do. So let's go into jungle practice. Oh, there she is. So yeah, Neith is actually, if not my favourite hunter, probably one of them. So there are going to be people out there that will say, oh, you know, that build's rubbish, there's better ways of building her, she's an ability-based god, so why are you building attack speed? If you built power, you could do so much more damage with your abilities. For me, this is how it works best for me. I've tried lots of different builds with Neith before, and this is by far the best build, in my opinion. That doesn't mean I'm right, it doesn't mean I'm wrong, it's just my opinion. And like I said before, these guides are for people that are just looking for a little bit of advice, and maybe they use it for a little bit and they go, oh, you know what, that's kind of okay, but I like this. By far, mix it up, guys. Like, if you find something better, Don't stick to my build because I've said it and maybe I've been playing a little bit longer than you. If you find something awesome, you think, you know what, that works out so much better for me, I much prefer it that way, then definitely do it, guys, because I think that's going to be good for you guys to experiment and test out new stuff. But this is a really nice way to start for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our Transcendence tier 2 as if we were starting the game and we had 1,500, and then we're going to get our pots. So this is exactly how I'd start a game, guys. As you can see, I've got my Transcendence tier 2, we've got a little bit of physical power, we've got some mana and we've got some MP5, and then we've got our Sanctuary and we've got a couple pots. And then what I'd do is, if auto skills were on, it would obviously go like this. It would go something like that, and we would be level 3, and you know, we'll hit it for 85. It's pretty decent. Now as the game goes on, we'd come back and get our Transcendence finished, and then we'd probably get our tier 1 boots, because that's how long I like to wait, and then we'd probably, by then we would have leveled our weave and our ultimate, and then all of a sudden you can see, even at this really early stage at level 5, you know what, this isn't the best way to be doing it, guys. Let me actually go back down to level 5, because that would make so much more sense. So, where were we? We were 1, we were backflip into that, into that. So 87 in fact, but 87 is really pretty good. I mean, at level 5, gods tend to have, like, you know, like we can see here, 800. So you land a couple of them and it's really going to hurt them. You land a spirit arrow, which is 170, and then land a couple of them, and they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So we come back, get our boots, maybe get tier 1, and we'd probably be level 7 by then. And we would have leveled our spirit arrow more. So now our spirit arrow is hitting for 314. We're hitting much faster, and we're hitting for 126 a hit. And that's really good. So eventually we'd come back, hopefully get ourselves a kill here and there, get another couple things, and we'd probably be level 8 or level 9, which would mean that we'd have our spirit arrow completely finished. We'd have our, well, I actually leveled that wrong, we'd have our ult done, but as you can see, hitting really hard now. Our Itchable just took our damage up like crazy. He's got reduced power, and we're hitting really fast. We've already got 1.5 attack speed. Come back to our Quins, probably get tier 1 of that, and we'd probably be about level 12. Obviously we'd have our ult done, we'd have our weave leveled a little bit, and we'd have backflip tier 2 or level 2. Now we're hitting really fast, and can you see that little yellow number, guys? See the little yellow 20 coming up? That is our Quins. So we're hitting for him for 4% of his maximum health every single time we hit him, which is a really crazy amount. So as you can see, we're hitting really fast. We go back, get our haste and fatalis fully done. Probably be 13, possibly 14. All of those would level on their own for us because they do. This is how I tend to engage as well, guys. I normally get this out. I try and get a little bit of poke damage with it. And as you can see with haste and fatalis, we move so quickly when we're attacking. It's going to be so hard to try and hit us. And like I said, I mean, I think I've said it in previous videos. Move unpredictably. Like, sometimes it's a good thing just to do like really weird movements on people, because they just won't really be able to land their abilities as well. And as soon as you land that one, just start laying into them, because you've got 2 seconds of root at this point. And that is an incredible amount. But you can see we're landing 224s constantly, and we're hitting them for 4% of their health. So let's do 10 shots, guys. Let's see how quickly it would take me to get down almost half of their health. Let's do 12 shots, which would be half of their health. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, if you can manage to land them, I know I missed one of them. If you can manage to land all of them, you've taken away half of their health with our Quins on its own. You've taken away 48% of their health. That's an incredible amount. And then obviously you've actually got the 200 damage that you hit per hit on top times 12. So they're dead. They're 100% dead. So at this stage you really only need to be hitting them about maybe 10 times max before they actually die. And then we go into Bloodforge, which is just insane. And we get let's get meditation. So now you can see we hit insanely hard. We hit for 300 a hit. Our spirit arrow hits for 500. We can engage, we can drop that on their head to get some healing back. If we need to, we can do our backflip that does 220 damage. And as you can see, this weave here on the floor is good to go. So now if I actually hit the weave, what you'll see is it will damage everything in that area. So even though I'm not aiming my spirit arrow at him, he gets hit by it and he's rooted. So really, really cool. Let's create another weave. Should we see if we can get a perfect weave off? Okay, so now what should happen is it should mean that that weave is perfectly... Oh no, we can't quite reach both of them, but we can reach... Oh no, we can't. But yeah, you get the idea. The weaves are there, and when they're there, they give you healing or AoE damage. So there we go, and if there's no minions, we get a heal off instead, so that's really cool. Now this is her ultimate. As you can see, she makes a noise, so there's an audible cue for the other team to start being a bit worried. And what you will notice is when I pull it up, if I fire it straight away right then, you'll see that the circle, the red circle in the middle, has sort of a little bit of mist encasing it. Can you see that? If you do that at the very beginning, you don't hit for very much. If you wait for it to fully charge, so it's all the way around, so you ready? Now, then you will be able to do maximum damage with it, and you'll be able to stun them and everything. So let's try it on this dude. So we do 400, he's stunned, we go in, hit him a couple of times and he's just dead unbelievably quick. What we will do is we'll level a little bit to make it a little bit more even, because by the time we've had this build, we'll be like level, let's say 17. Have some more ults and some backflip and stuff like that. Now let's see, this is a level 17 Ra. This is how quickly you can drop people once this build's fully done. I mean, it's about a second, I think, and it really doesn't take much for you to land your spirit arrow. So yeah, I mean, Neith's amazing. You really can't get much better than Neith as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. So to get her as a free starter god when you guys start the game, that's like fantastic. And you can see these are just auto attacks. Like I didn't use a single ability there, and obviously if I do use an ability, then he's absolutely fucked. So yeah, that's Neith, guys, and I hope that's been really helpful and just giving you a little idea of exactly how she works, the best way to build her, in my opinion anyway, and the sort of stages throughout the game that you can do stuff. So, you know, remember, till you get your Quins online, you're going to want to be slightly cautious, because you're not going to do a crazy amount of damage. Once you've got your Quins, you can start getting a bit cocky and start trying to attack some people. Maybe even do like 1v1s or a 2v1, depending on the matchup. You know, and then once you've got Haste and Vitalis, then you're really, really going to be swinging hard. And once you've got Bloodforge, you know, if you're feeling confident enough and you practice enough with her, you can 3v1. I've 3v1'd with Neith plenty of times, and it's worked out perfectly fine for me. The only thing you have to be careful about is when you have your Haste and Vitalis procced. So as you can see, we're moving really slowly. When you have your Haste and Vitalis procced, just make sure you've got really good movement. Make sure it's really hard for them to hit you. And if you know that they're going to hit you, so say a mage does some sort of ability on the floor, just backflip out of it. Don't be worried about using your backflip too much, and then just re-engage and start the damage again. And if you need healing, just drop that as quick as you can. And even using your ult up close just as a stun is fine. There's nothing wrong with using your ult as a quick stun. And there's no point, waiting for it to charge up for that extra damage because, you're on top of the person. If you get the stun off, then you can literally just lay into them and do that damage that you would have done with the charge up anyway. So yeah, guys, I hope that's been handy. And next time, I think we got Ra, and I think that's going to be the very last one. So that'll be interesting because I don't play him a ton, but I have a pretty good idea of what he's all about, how he should be played. So that'll be interesting. If you guys are interested in that, come check that out. And that will be the very last episode in this series. If for some reason you guys want me to cover something, then I'll probably just cover it and release it as a single episode of something. Smite the Basics will be finished after Ra. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Alright then guys, peace.